Hi guys, welcome to episode.
198.
Sorry, episode 198 of the Road to 30 podcast.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, fun fact about 198. I have a
Oh
no,
God.
I have a fun fact this time.
Finally. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
give us.
so 198.
Do you Google these things?
No, I just make them up on the fly. But because I'm a guy, it flies.
God. Your children will be tired of you.
They will. I'll be that dad that'll be cracking inappropriate jokes
Mm-hmm.
at the at the family table.
Bruh,
But
for
anyway,
sure.
so fact about 198 is that it's a number that is divisible by the sum of its digits. So if you add 1, 9, and 8, you get 18. And if you divide 198 by 18, you get 11. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, those numbers are called Harshad numbers. Don't ask me how I know these things.
You Googled it.
But this one I Googled, but it's because
Yeah.
of what's that thing from secondary school?
But that's a good one.
What's that thing they used to teach us? Prime numbers and all those kind of funky stuff. Yeah.
Those
So
are
it's
very random numbers to be divisible by each other. So that's...
yeah, 18 and 11, right? It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. 180 plus 18, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means 18 times 11
198.
is 198.
Yeah. Yeah. You learned something new today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Isaac here.
Dolly here.
But before I say my AP, I have a question, right? Is it just me or is everybody like going through this phase where they're just like tired, right? It's like life is just gray. So I was talking to you earlier this week about like I can't remember. Management sent something to me
Mhm.
about one of these what do you call them people? These astrology people who was talking about how everybody is going through stuff because I don't know, the sun is in the moon, is in the something, Mercury rising, descending. There's just something there that explained it, which was fair. But then I was asking people, and I think everybody is going through this phase. So I wanted to ask you guys if you're all going through that phase where it's like maybe because it's the middle of the year, life is just
Yeah.
like, very
Life is-
like gray and there's just nothing fantastic happening and you just feel, a bit overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
In my AP this week, right? After all the ado.
Yeah.
The AP this week is actually something that I saw that what's his name actually wrote now. I think it was Pablo Picasso. Right? That's his first name? Pablo?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was him. And he said, okay, every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. Right? And the thing is, you look around and it's almost like, we've cracked those jokes about when kids are like when you're younger and everything is just happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just feel like, oh, life is just so beautiful. You sleep on the couch, you wake up on the bed, your problems are not a lot. But then as you get older, it's sort of like responsibilities just drain you. And then all of a sudden it's like, I just wake up, I just go to bed and whatever.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about on ambition and all that. But I want to encourage you guys to keep the artist in you alive. Keep the childlike energy. I won't call it childish now. Keep the childlike energy in you alive because nothing is actually in this life except what you make of it, right?
Anyway, so what I wanted us to discuss today and what is about life and what the meaning of it is. I read a devotional this
Life.
week. I was in a devotional called Excerpts from Ecclesiastes.
This your devotionals, this woman.
I mean, I learn a lot. You
Clearly,
understand? I learn a
except
lot.
from who?
Ecclesiastes.
Okay.
Isaac said at least he likes that book.
No, I do like that book. I like
Yes,
that. I like a
right.
couple books like Songs of Solomon.
Of course you do. So, and I read one of the devotionals, and I thought that wow, it made me reflect and think for a bit, and it
Yeah.
was something that I wanted us to discuss. So I wanted to read it first
Okay.
to drive the conversation, right?
Okay.
So it's called The Futility of Life.
Oof.
So it goes:
Deep.
there are many people who think life is utterly pointless and meaningless,
Okay.
but few are willing to take this belief to its logical conclusion, like Ernest Hemingway did. Do you guys know Hemingway? You know Hemingway?
Yeah, right, I know.
Writer, poet, I think, yeah. After years of saying and writing about how life is without meaning and that the only edge we have over death is the choice of when, where, and how, Hemingway got up in the early morning hours of July 2nd, 1962.
Okay.
Trigger warning, everybody. And committed suicide.
With a shotgun, if I remember, right?
I don't know what...
Was it Hemingway that did
I
a
don't know
shotgun?
I don't know how he
Oh, yeah,
did
okay.
it, but yeah. Without minimizing his mental illnesses, It must be said that Hemingway came to the conclusion that he did because he was looking at the world from the perspective of one who believed in nothing transcendent, which is
Okay.
nothing short of despair.
Okay.
If there is nothing that transcends everything, then of course there is no good reason to do one thing over another. There is no accountability, no
Mm,
judgment.
mm,
And if there is no one to hold us accountable and it does not matter what we do, then any meaning we find is illusory, lasting only as long as we are conscious. The
mm.
utter meaninglessness of life from an earthbound perspective that does not take into account the creator God is one of the main points of the book of Ecclesiastes. Again and again, the preacher contrasts life under the sun with life under heaven. The former, which is under the sun, referring to the perspective that looks at everything and concludes that the only thing that exists is what is visible to the human eye.
Mm.
The conclusions that logically flow from such a perspective are presented repeatedly in Ecclesiastes, only to be refuted from the vantage point that sees things under heaven, in
Okay.
reference to the covenant Lord of Israel. Under the sun, everything is vanity. The term vanity comes from the Hebrew word hebel, which means something like vapor or breath. What is being conveyed is fleetingness. Like vapor, everything is fleeting, apart from reference to the Creator, and therefore everything is ultimately futile. Hard work produces gain for the worker for only a short while until his death. People run after new sights and sounds to entertain them, but nothing can satisfy. Men and women strive to fill the emptiness they feel, but all their efforts are to no avail. Only the existence of the transcendent God can provide us with any meaning. Life lived with reference to Him under heaven is never an exercise in futility. So, shall I read the main? As Christians, were to, okay, let me just leave. Let me just end it there.
Okay.
So, when I read this, I started to think about what life means.
Mm.
What do we think that life means? Because, in his opinion, and like what he said, if one doesn't think about what might happen after life,
Mm.
what then is the point of
Of
life?
life.
Like, if we're doing all these things, oh, we're loving people, we're being good,
Yeah.
right? What is the point of being good? What is the point of loving people if it never is going to last? Like, what is the point if it's only for the here and the now and the whatever? Are we
Mm.
just trying to make the world a better place?
Yeah.
But a better place for what?
Just for it. For
Just for
Yeah.
so does that mean that, so are we now saying that in trying to make the world a better place just for the sake of it, that
Yeah.
means that it is still all just futile?
I mean, it's this thing is like it's like the color argument, right? The way I see it is it's more like different people have different reasons for life, right? Some people want there to be something after, and so because of that, they do all the things they do, so that when they actually do go past all this, then it starts to make sense. They get this sense of reward. But some people live life and they believe that life is just about making an impact on the people closest to them or the people around them and letting that impact outlive them. So some people, okay, let's take two steps back. So
Like, let
the
me,
way I
okay,
say
go
it,
on,
right?
go
Just
on.
just one sec.
Mhm.
I think the value of life, right, is in
Mhm.
what the individual makes of it. To be
Okay.
fair,